How to improve your listening skills. Elara lived in a world of English, yet not fully in it. She understood complex dialogues in films, chuckled at subtle jokes, and followed intricate plotlines in novels without a single hiccup. Her mind processed English like a native, absorbing every nuance and detail with remarkable ease and precision, a skill she deeply valued and often silently celebrated. However, a stark contrast emerged whenever she tried to speak. Words felt trapped, her tongue seemed to swell, and thoughts dissolved before they could form coherent sentences. This frustrating disparity, understanding everything but speaking nothing, became her daily torment, a silent scream of capability locked behind a vocal barrier that felt impenetrable. "Why can't I speak?" she often whispered to her reflection. She knew the grammar, possessed a vast vocabulary, and comprehended complex arguments effortlessly. This internal struggle highlighted a crucial gap in her learning journey, a missing link between passive understanding and active, confident verbal expression, a puzzle she desperately needed to solve. One afternoon, while sitting in a bustling cafe, she overheard a lively conversation. Two friends, clearly non-native speakers, spoke English with delightful enthusiasm, their sentences not always perfect, but their confidence radiating. Elara listened intently, noticing their courage and the simple joy they found in connecting, a profound realization sparking within her. That moment ignited a new resolve. Her first step was to consciously improve her listening skills beyond mere comprehension. She began active listening, focusing not just on meaning, but on intonation, rhythm, and common phrasal verbs used in daily conversation. She sought out various accents, training her ear for real-world English diversity. She realized that passive listening, though helpful, wasn't enough to bridge the gap. She started transcribing short audio clips, forcing herself to pay meticulous attention to every syllable and pause. This deliberate practice sharpened her auditory perception, helping her internalize natural speech patterns, a crucial foundation for eventual speaking fluency. Next, she tackled the question of why you must read English. She had always read for pleasure, but now she read with purpose. Novels, articles, blogs, even product manuals became tools for discovering new vocabulary and context, observing grammatical structures, and absorbing natural sentence constructions, deepening her textual comprehension significantly. Reading extensively exposed her to diverse writing styles and narrative voices. She noticed how authors crafted sentences to convey specific emotions or ideas, patterns that she could potentially emulate in her own speech. This deliberate analytical reading built a rich mental library of authentic English expressions, ready for retrieval and eventual use. Then came the daunting challenge: how to practice English. She understood that simply knowing theory wasn't enough, active application was essential. She started small, speaking aloud to herself in her room, describing objects, narrating her day, and even role-playing conversations, initially feeling awkward but gradually building confidence. Her English study plan for talking began to take shape. She allocated specific times each day purely for speaking practice, even if it meant talking to her plants. She recorded her voice, listening back critically to identify areas for improvement in pronunciation and intonation, transforming her bedroom into a personal language lab. She explored different ways of learning English. Online language exchange platforms connected her with partners from around the globe, offering low-pressure environments for real conversations. She joined local English-speaking clubs, initially just observing, then gradually contributing a few hesitant words, slowly breaking her long-held silence. Observing how other people talk in English became a fascinating study. She noticed their conversational fillers, their gestures, their turn-taking signals. Imitating these subtle nonverbal cues and common spoken phrases helped her feel more natural and less like a robot, truly integrating her into the flow of communication. For English talking practice, Elara embraced every opportunity. She ordered coffee in English, asked for directions, and initiated small talk with understanding shopkeepers. Each interaction, no matter how brief, chipped away at her anxiety, proving that speaking was a skill built through persistent, everyday application and brave attempts. Listen English, she realized, was not just about understanding, but about absorbing. She immersed herself in podcasts, interviews, and documentaries, allowing the rhythm and flow of natural speech to permeate her subconscious. This constant exposure was vital for developing an intuitive feel for the language, a sense of rightness. Her journey was not without setbacks. Some days, words still felt distant, and frustration loomed. Yet, she remembered the joy of that cafe conversation, the infectious confidence of those speakers, and persevered, understanding that consistency, even in small doses, was far more powerful than sporadic bursts of intense effort. Elara developed a structured approach to her learning. Each week, she set specific, achievable goals, mastering 5 new phrasal verbs in conversation, maintaining a 3-minute uninterrupted monologue, or successfully ordering food at a restaurant without resorting to her native language, pushing her comfort zone gradually but firmly. She also began to journal in English, not just writing formally, but expressing her raw thoughts and feelings. This daily writing practice helped her organize her ideas in English, making the transition from thought to spoken word smoother, as if she were pre-rehearsing her mental dialogue for future conversations with ease. A crucial insight she gained was the importance of pronunciation. She used online tools and pronunciation guides to refine her sounds, focusing on difficult vowels and consonants. She practiced minimal pairs, differentiating between similar-sounding words, which significantly improved her clarity and reduced misunderstandings during conversations. Elara started thinking in English, a monumental shift. Initially, it was a conscious effort, translating her thoughts internally. But with consistent practice, it became more spontaneous, like a switch had flipped. This internal monologue fostered fluency by removing the translation step, allowing ideas to directly form in English. She joined an online book club where discussions were held entirely in English. This pushed her to articulate her opinions, defend arguments, and engage in spontaneous debate. It was daunting at first, but the shared passion for literature provided a safe and stimulating environment for extensive verbal participation. To tackle the understand but can't speak hurdle, Elara started rehearsing common scenarios. She imagined meeting new people, giving presentations, or even explaining complex concepts. This mental preparation, coupled with speaking aloud, built neural pathways for rapid verbal retrieval when real situations arose, reducing her anxiety considerably. She created flashcards not just for vocabulary, but for entire phrases and idiomatic expressions. Learning chunks of language rather than individual words helped her sound more natural and fluent. These ready-made expressions became building blocks for her sentences, speeding up her response time in conversations and making her feel more confident. Her English study plan also incorporated regular feedback. She found a patient online tutor who provided constructive criticism on her speaking, correcting errors gently but effectively. This personalized guidance was invaluable, highlighting specific areas for improvement that she might have overlooked on her own. One of the most significant ways of learning English she discovered was through storytelling. She started narrating simple stories, first to herself, then to her online conversation partners. This practice improved her ability to structure narratives, use descriptive language, and maintain a logical flow, making her speaking more engaging. She actively sought out opportunities to hear how other people talk in English in authentic contexts. Watching interviews, attending webinars, and even listening to street performers allowed her to observe natural rhythms, pauses, and the subtle ways speakers express nuances, enhancing her intuitive understanding of the language. Elara understood that English talking practice didn't always require a partner. She used a voice recorder app on her phone to conduct mock interviews with herself, asking and answering questions. This self-dialogue allowed her to identify stuttering points or areas where her vocabulary felt insufficient, prompting further targeted study. She immersed herself in English media, beyond just movies. Documentaries on topics she genuinely found interesting, comedy specials, and even video game streams contributed to her passive listening. This enjoyable immersion ensured constant exposure, making the process feel less like studying and more like engaging with the world. Her approach to improving listening skills became more strategic. She used resources like TED Talks, first listening for overall meaning, then re-listening for specific vocabulary, and finally for pronunciation and intonation patterns. This multi-layered listening enhanced her comprehension and allowed her to absorb finer details of spoken English. Reading English wasn't just about expanding vocabulary anymore, it was about understanding cultural contexts and common expressions. She delved into contemporary fiction and nonfiction, noticing how language reflected societal norms and nuances. This deepened her appreciation for the language and its intricate relationship with culture. For active practice, Elara began shadowing. She would listen to short audio clips or sentences and immediately try to repeat them, mimicking the speaker's speed, intonation, and rhythm. This highly effective technique trained her mouth and brain to produce English sounds more naturally and efficiently, building muscle memory. She made a conscious effort to use new words and phrases she encountered within a day of learning them. This immediate application solidified her understanding and moved the new vocabulary from passive recognition to active production. Even if she made mistakes, the attempt itself was a valuable learning experience. Her English study plan for talking emphasized consistency over intensity. Instead of cramming for hours once a week, she dedicated 30 to 60 minutes daily to focused speaking practice. This regular engagement kept the language fresh in her mind and fostered gradual, sustainable improvement without overwhelming her. Elara found a way of learning English that truly resonated: teaching. She volunteered to help a beginner friend with basic English concepts, forcing her to articulate rules and explain vocabulary clearly. This act of teaching reinforced her own understanding and built immense confidence in her ability to communicate effectively. She learned to embrace her mistakes, viewing them not as failures but as valuable feedback. Each error provided an opportunity to refine her understanding and improve her future attempts. This shift in mindset released much of the pressure, making her more willing to experiment and take linguistic risks. Observing how other people talk in English also involved paying attention to their emotional expressions. She noticed how tone of voice, emphasis, and pauses conveyed feelings beyond just the words themselves. Understanding these nonverbal cues was crucial for full comprehension and for expressing herself authentically. For English talking practice, Elara tried describing pictures or scenes in real time. She would pick up a magazine or look out her window and verbally narrate what she saw, using descriptive adjectives and verbs. This spontaneous exercise improved her ability to generate thoughts directly in English without hesitation. Listen English became a constant companion. During her commute, while exercising, or even doing chores, she always had an English podcast or audiobook playing. This pervasive immersion created a linguistic environment that continuously fed her brain, enhancing her intuitive grasp of native speech patterns. She utilized online grammar checkers and thesauruses not just for writing, but to refine her mental lexicon for speaking. When she encountered a sentence structure she found challenging to articulate, she would look it up, understand its components, and then practice saying it aloud until it felt natural. Elara started participating in online forums and discussion groups where English was the primary language. While initially she only typed, the exposure to diverse viewpoints and natural discourse prepared her for expressing similar thoughts verbally. The textual interaction bolstered her confidence for spoken exchanges. She understood that improving her listening skills meant actively engaging with the content, not just passively hearing it. She would pause podcasts to summarize what she heard, or try to predict what the speaker would say next. This proactive approach strengthened her comprehension and predictive abilities in conversations. Why you must read English became clear when she started noticing recurring lexical chunks and collocations. Reading provided a vast database of how words naturally combine, making her spoken English sound less stilted and more idiomatic, bridging the gap between textbook grammar and authentic expression. Her strategy for how to practice English included a sentence builder exercise. She would pick a random word and challenge herself to create 5 different grammatically correct and meaningful sentences using it, spoken aloud. This boosted her spontaneity and creativity in forming expressions. Elara realized that her understand but can't speak well problem stemmed partly from a fear of imperfection. She consciously worked on accepting that mistakes are part of the learning process, allowing herself to be imperfect and focus on communication rather than flawless grammar, which significantly reduced her speaking anxiety. Her English study plan for talking eventually included a challenge a native speaker component. She would aim to speak for a certain duration without switching to her native language, even if it meant using simpler words. This brave step pushed her beyond her comfort zone and accelerated her progress immensely. She explored innovative ways of learning English, like using language learning apps that incorporated speech recognition technology. These apps provided instant feedback on her pronunciation, allowing her to self-correct and refine her spoken output without needing a human interlocutor, making practice more accessible. Observing how other people talk in English also extended to their body language. She noticed how gestures, facial expressions, and eye contact played a crucial role in conveying meaning. Incorporating these nonverbal cues into her own speaking made her appear more confident and her communication more effective. For English talking practice, Elara engaged in self-talk, describing her daily activities aloud as she performed them. I'm boiling water for tea. Now I'm adding milk. This constant internal narration in English transformed her thoughts into spoken words, making the transition seamless and natural over time. Listen English became her background soundtrack to life. She replaced her usual music with English audiobooks, selecting genres she enjoyed. This enjoyable, low-pressure exposure trained her ear to the natural flow and rhythm of the language, making comprehension more automatic and less effortful in all situations. She discovered the power of storytelling aloud, even if just to herself. Recounting past events, sharing opinions on news articles, or even making up short fictional tales improved her ability to string together complex sentences and maintain coherent narratives, building both fluency and confidence. Elara recognized the profound connection between reading and speaking. Reading extensively not only provided vocabulary but also ingrained natural phrasing and sentence structures into her mind, making it easier to produce those patterns spontaneously in conversation, proving that reading directly fuels speaking ability. Her understand but can't speak well barrier slowly crumbled as she consistently applied these varied techniques. The initial frustration gave way to a quiet confidence, fueled by numerous small victories and a growing belief in her own linguistic capabilities, a truly transformative shift in her self-perception. The way of learning English she adopted was holistic and adaptive. She didn't stick to one method but integrated listening, reading, speaking, and writing into a cohesive, daily routine. This comprehensive approach ensured all language skills developed in harmony, reinforcing each other effectively and efficiently over time. She understood that how other people talk in English was not about mimicking, but about internalizing patterns. She absorbed the essence of natural speech, then made it her own, developing a unique voice rather than just an imitation. Authenticity became a key part of her confident expression. Her English talking practice evolved from hesitant attempts to fluid conversations. She found herself engaging effortlessly with strangers, participating actively in group discussions, and even dreaming in English, tangible proof of her remarkable progress and dedication, a true testament to her persistent effort and smart strategies. Elara's journey from silent understanding to vibrant expression was a testament to perseverance and strategic practice. She proved that the perceived gap between comprehension and verbal fluency is bridgeable, one active listen, one brave read, and one confident spoken word at a time, inspiring everyone around her.